Hi guys, Ms. Berg again. We're going to be starting 7-5 today. Just as a reminder, if you are having trouble with any of these these lessons, please email me, or just even in your Google Classroom, just give me a comment just saying that you want to have me help you, and I can always set up any time. My office hours are literally any time on Wednesday. I don't want to give you a specific time because some people can't be there at that time. So I am anytime from 8 o'clock until 3:15. So I am open all of that time. So I need you to get in contact with me and we can come up with a time. Please let me know. I need to tell me what time is good for you if you are having trouble. So please, like, even if it's just a message on Google Classroom, like in a private message to me. I get private messages. Don't do it on the stream. I hardly ever get any messages on my stream. So just do like a comment, a private message on a particular lesson. Tell me what you are having trouble with, and I can help you then. But please tell me what time on a Wednesday would be best, and we will come up with a Wednesday that I can come and help you, and we can do it on Zoom, one-on-one. So I'm just letting you know, that's just a reminder to all of you. So now I am going to flip this around, and we are going to do comparing fraction factors and products. So I am just going to quickly review something, and this is a very big, important thing to remember. When it comes to a proper fraction where the numerator is smaller than a denominator, like for example, if it's like 5/6 or 2/3 or 1/1000th, these are all proper fractions, which means they are all smaller than one whole. So if it was like a whole, when it comes to like 5/6, if it was in 6, a whole would be 6/6. So keep that in mind. If it was improper, which means it has a big head, where the numerator is larger than the denominator. So here are different examples of improper fractions, and improper fractions are always larger than one whole. So that is also something to remember. Also, if we were going back to 6, so if this numerator was bigger than 6, that is automatically an improper fraction. So it could have been like 10/6, 7/6, 8/6. All of those are improper as well. So just keep in mind, proper fractions are always smaller than one whole. Improper fractions are always larger than one whole. So these are in your notes, and you can always go back to the notes section and see these notes to remind you of that. So going back to this, now we can talk about it. It says multiplication can be thought of resizing one number by another number. For example, 2 times 3 will result in a product that is 2 times as great as 3. What happens to the size of a product when a number is multiplied by a fraction rather than a whole number? So in this case, it says during the week, the Delgado family ate 3/8 of a cereal box. So they want you to shade this model showing 3/4. Oh, sorry, did I say 3/8? I meant 3/4 of a cereal box. So shade 3 out of the 4 of this cereal box over here. So that is what I'm going to be doing right now. I'm going to do it in a highlighter because it does seem to come out a little brighter. So I'm going to shade 3 out of the 4. All right, so there is 3/4. Now write an expression for 3/4 of one box of cereal. So if you were doing 3/4 of, now remember, of means multiply, one box. Well, one box. So That is what is missing. So 3/4 means multiply 1. So this is what they want us to do. Now they want us to know what will the product, what will the, remember product means answer to a multiplication problem. So I'm going to write that. Answer to a multiplication problem. So what will the product of this be? Will it be equal to, greater than, or less than 1 whole? So think about this for a second. They're wanting us to compare it to 1 whole. Well, here is the same thing. We're both doing 1 whole. Now, without having to do any multiplication, you guys can certainly multiply it out. But all you really have to do is look at the other factor. See, the other factor other than 1 whole is 3/4. So is 3/4 considered a proper fraction or an improper fraction? Well, 3/4 is, the numerator is smaller than the denominator. So therefore, this is a proper fraction, which means when your answer should be less than 1 whole. So if I'm multiplying something that is less than 1 whole, my answer should come out to be less than 1 whole. So and here's an example here. I am going to do, I'm going to keep 2 here. Let's do, let's do 1/2 times 10. If I do 1/2 of 10, you guys all know that the answer is going to be 5. Now, why is it 5? Because if I'm finding half, that means it is smaller than 1 whole. So I'm going to be multiplying something that is smaller than 1 whole by 10. Then my answer should come out to be smaller than 10. If it is bigger, then I did something wrong. So in this case, if I did that, it comes out to be, if I'm multiplying a fraction that is smaller than 1 times a whole number, my answer should come out to be smaller than 1 whole, than that number, sorry. So it should be smaller than 10. But say I do 1 times 10. Well, you guys all know that if I'm multiplying 1 by 10, my answer is going to come out to be 10. Now, here's the thing. I could change up 1 whole, and it would be like, say, 3/3. That's still considered 1 whole times 10. Well, if I do this, if I go across, that would be 30. If I go right across, that would be 3 times 10 is 30 over 3 times 1 is 3. Well, how many 3's go into 30? It will still give you your 10. Why did it still give you my 10? Because I multiplied by a fraction that is equal to 1 whole. 3/3 is 1 whole. It's just another way of saying it. Now, if I choose an improper fraction and I multiply it by by 10, I should be getting something that is larger than 1 whole, because I am multiplying by an improper fraction. And remember, an improper fraction means larger than 1 whole. So if I'm going to be multiplying something that is larger than 1 whole by 10, my answer should come out to be bigger than 10, because if I just did 1 times 10, it's coming out to be 10. Well, here it's going to be bigger than 10 times 10. So, sorry, bigger than 1 whole times 10. So my answer should come out to be bigger than 10. So let's see if this is true. I'm going to put a 1 under it and then just go across. That would be 30/2. So now if you see what that comes out to be, 2 can go into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract it, that would be a 1. check it. We are good. So bring down your 0. How many 2's go into 10? That would be 5. And then that would be nothing remaining. So our answer came out to be 15. Why is it 15? Because I multiplied 10 by a number that is bigger than 1 whole. If I multiplied a number by something that's bigger than 1 whole, it better come out to be bigger than that previous number. So therefore it did. It was greater than 10. So therefore I got what I wanted. It should have been bigger than 10. So this is what I need you to write down. I want everyone to write this down. I got some notes here. Greater. Just say greater means the other fraction will be improper or greater than 1 whole. So in order for it to be greater, the other fraction will be improper or greater than 1 whole. In order for your answer to be equal to, the fraction would be one whole or a fraction that is equal to a whole. For example, I'll give you some examples of what I mean. 5 over 5. 5 over 5 is 1 whole. So this is a fraction that is equal to 1 whole. It's the same thing as saying 1 whole, just another way of saying it. Also, if you had like something like 10 over 10, that is also 1 whole. Or like 100 over 100. This is 1 whole. So these are all 1 whole. It's just another way of saying it. So if I'm multiplying a number by one of these, that just means it's going to be equal to it because I'm just technically multiplying by just 1. And then for it to be less than, sorry, I should have said greater than. So in order for the answer to be less than, it would have to be multiplied by a proper fraction. Which, here's some examples. Examples of proper fractions are like 1/2 or 3/5 or 1/10, so on. All right, so here we go. They said they want to know what will happen to the product. Will it be equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1? So this is what we are looking at, the 1. Now, what is going to determine whether it is going to be equal to, greater than, or less than is we are going to look at the fraction that is being multiplied by. So if you multiply it by a fraction that is 3/4, that is a proper fraction. So if it is going to be a proper fraction that we are multiplying it by, then your answer is going to be less than that 1 whole. So it would be less than. Now you could always multiply it across. So what is 3/4 times 1 whole? Your answer would be 3/4, which is 3/4 is less than 1 whole because 1 whole, when it comes to fourths, would be 4/4. So therefore, their answer is less than one whole because you multiply by a fraction that is smaller than one whole. All right, now it says the Ling family has 4 boxes of cereal. They ate 3/4 of all the cereal during the week. Shade the model to show 3/4 of the 4 boxes of cereal. Okay, so on this one, they ate, I'm going to use my highlighters again. This was 3/4 of this one, but they said of all of them. So they did 3/4 of this one, 3/4 of that one, 3/4 of the third one, and 3/4 of the fourth one. All right, so okay, sorry guys. So in this case, it says to shade 3/4 of each one. Okay, so I did that. Now it says write an expression for 3/4 of, remember of means multiply, 3/4 of the 4 boxes. So in this case, 3/4 of 4 would be the expression that we would need to see here. So let's see. The question is, will the product be equal to, greater than, or less than 4 wholes? So this is what we are looking at. The only thing that's going to determine whether it is equal to, greater than, or less than is the other number that we are multiplying by. In this case, it is a fraction. And you're going to look at that fraction. Is that fraction improper, which means bigger than 1 whole, or is it proper, meaning the numerator and the numerator is not bigger than the denominator? This is proper. So therefore, it would be less than 1 whole. So if I'm multiplying a number that is less than 1 whole by 4, my answer should come out to be less than that number 4. Now, of course, we can go ahead and solve to see this, but this is what's going to happen. If I do this over here, I go ahead and just go across. 3 times 4 is 12 over 4 times 1 is 4. Well, how many 4s go into 12? My answer is 3. So therefore, is the product, which is 3, equal to, greater than, or less than 4? Well, it is less than 4. So it is less than. And you don't even need to solve it. All you just got to do is look at that fraction. If that fraction is less than 1, then your answer is going to be less than that number, and so on. So here we go. We're going to do another one. It says the Carter family has only 1/2 of the box of cereal at the beginning of the week. They ate 3/4 of the 1/2 of cereal. Shade the model to show 3/4 of a half box of cereal. So write the expression to show 3/4 of a half. So what is missing is 3/4 of a half. All right, so here we go. What this means is that we need to shade this. Now remember, this is like our columns and this is our rows. So they're telling us that we need to shade 1 out of 2 columns. So that is what I'm going to be doing right now. I'm going to shade 1 out of the 2. So I gotta undo this real fast. Okay, so 1 out of the 2 is shaded for the column section. Okay, so this is your 1/2. All right, so 1 out of the 2 is shaded there. Now, what they want us to do now is to look at our the rows. So they're saying that 3 out of the 4 rows need to be shaded. So that is what I'm going to be doing next. I am going to be shading 3 out of the 4. So therefore, be 1, 2, 3. Now, remember, the answer is going to be what is overlapping with both colors and making that orange. So therefore, the thing is on this is that our answer comes out to be 3 out of, how many is that total in this one hole? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would be 3/8. So that is our answer to this. Now, they want us to know, will the product of this, will the product be greater to, equal to, greater than, or less than a half? So like I did up here, this is what they want us to compare it to, a half. Well, with a half, in order to see what is going to happen, I'm going to look at that other fraction. This is what's going to determine whether it is going to be bigger, less than, or greater than, or equal to. So greater than, less than, or equal to is going to be determined by this 3/4. Now, is 3/4 a proper fraction or an improper fraction? Well, that's what you got to go to here. And 3/4 is where the numerator is smaller than the denominator. So therefore, it is smaller than 1 whole. So I'm 3/4 is smaller than 1 whole. So therefore, I am multiplying a half by something that is smaller than 1 whole. So my answer is going to come out to be less than a half. And you guys can see that right here. It is less than a half of this, because half of this thing would be right down the middle, and it's only showing just a little bit, not quite a half. A half would mean another one would need to be shaded here. So it wasn't quite a half yet. So therefore, the answer to this is less than a half. And now they want to know, will the product be greater to, equal to, greater than, or less than 3/4 now? So now they want us to compare it to 3/4. So 3/4 is what we're looking at now, because that was this color. So in order to determine whether this answer is going to come out to be equal to, greater than, or less than 3/4 now, I have to look at the other fraction. So this is my other fraction, and a half is another proper fraction. So therefore, my answer is going to come out to be less than again, because I am multiplying something that is less than 1 whole. So it's also going to be less than 3/4. And if you look here, if I was cutting this up into 3/4, it is also 3/4. If I had it in 3/4 and I'm doing half of it, that would only be 1/4. So that is also why 3/4, when you're taking 3/4 and finding half of it. So in other words, I need to show that. I think it's much easier if I'm looking at it. So here I have 3/4. All right, so here's 3/4. Yeah, I'm not gonna show it that way. Let's do it another way. So now let's look here. I'm gonna take, so this is 3 out of 4. So let's do 3 3 out of the 4. So 3 out of these 4 are going to be shaded because these are going to be my columns right now. And then it's saying now find half of this. So then in order to do half of it, I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm only going to shade one part of that half. And when I do that, the part that is overlapping is smaller than 3/4. So remember, this whole thing was 3/4, and then when I cut it in half, it's even a smaller portion of that. So that is why when I'm cutting it in half, it is even smaller chunks than just a 3/4 of a pie. So, all right, next, I am not going to be doing this. I don't like the way it's going to be showing you on here. So we are going to go right on in to the next part. It says the product of 1 and 3/4 will be blank 3/4. So if I do 1, the product, remember product means answer to a multiplication problem. So if I do this, what is it always going to come out to be? So if I do 1 times 3/4, my answer would be 3/4. So therefore, what would it be? Would it be equal to 3/4, greater than 3/4, or less than 3/4? Well, it should be equal to. Why? Because I multiply by 1, which is going to come out and make sure it is equal. So whenever I multiply it by 1 whole or a fraction that is equal to 1 whole, my answer is always going to come out to be equal to that other number. So here, the product of a number less than 1 and 3/4 will be blank 3/4. So now they're saying make it something less than 1. So I'm going to do like 2/8. So 2/8 and 3/4. So if I'm going to be multiplying these 2/8 times 3/4. If I do this, the product of 3/4, I'm going to highlight this. So would my answer come out to be what of 3/4? Would they come out to be equal to 3/4, less than 3/4, or greater than 3/4? Well, the only thing that's going to determine what happens is looking at that other fraction here. So this fraction is going to determine whether it's going to be less than, equal to, or greater than. Well, 2/8 is less than 1 whole. So therefore, my answer should come out to be less than the other factor, which is 3/4. So my answer should be less than. All right, so I'm going to say why. It should come out to be less because 2/8 is smaller than 1 whole. So if you multiply a fraction that is smaller than 1 whole, it's going to come out to be, the answer is going to come out be smaller than that original number, which is that 3/4. If you are multiplying 3/4 by something that is equal to 1, it's going to come out to be itself. It's going to come out to be equal to 3/4 because you multiplied by 1 whole, which always comes out to be the other number, which is that 3/4 again. And I can highlight that so you can see it a little better. So it's going to come out to be 3/4 because you just multiplied it by just 1. So in this case, now they're saying the product of a number greater than 1 whole and 3/4 will be blank 3/4 now. So again, they want to know about 3/4, and they said to make sure it is a number greater than 3/4. So I'm going to come up with something that is greater than 3/4. Let's do 2 wholes. 2 wholes is greater than 1. So a number greater than 1, I just made 2. And then I'm going to times it by 3/4. So this is where they want to know what happens, what will the product be compared to 3/4? Will that answer to this be bigger than 3/4, equal to 3/4, or less than 3/4? Well, in order for it to be determined, you are going to look at that other number. In this case, the other number is a 2 wholes, which of course is bigger than 1 whole. So if I'm multiplying something that is bigger than 1 whole, my answer should come out to be bigger than this other number. So it should be greater than. And we should write down why. You should say greater because 2 is larger than 1 whole. So if I'm multiplying something that is bigger than 1 whole by 3/4, then my answer should be larger than 3/4. And that's what it wants to know. Would it be greater than 3/4? It most certainly should. So if you wanted to solve this, it would be 6/4. So then if you divided that out, that would be 1 time and 2 remaining. So my mixed number would be 1 whole and 2/4. So is 1 whole and 2/4 greater than, equal to, or less than 3/4? It is most certainly greater than. And we should not even have had to solve that. All we had to do is just look at that other number. And since it is greater than 1 whole, that answer would definitely be bigger than 3/4. All right, so I'm going to keep on going here. And we really don't have to solve. Now, if you want to solve, you may certainly do so. But all you have to just do is look at that other number and say, okay, is it bigger than, less than, or equal to 1 whole? And then that's going to determine the answer. So it says, complete the statement with equal to, greater than, or less than. So 4 times 7/8 will be blank to 7/8. So here, the number that is the same is 3/7. So in order to determine whether the answer is going to come out to be equal to, greater than, or less than 7/8, is you have to look at the other number. Well, the other number is 4, which is 4 less than, greater than, or equal to 1. Well, 4 is greater than, so therefore my answer should be greater than 7/8. Now you can definitely, if you don't see it, you can always multiply it and solve. So in this case, it would be 28 over 8. And then if you do this, 8 can go into 28 3 times. with 4 remaining. So my answer would be 3 4/8. So is the answer 3 4/8 greater than, equal to, or less than 7/8? It is greater than 7/8 because I multiplied a number that is bigger than 1 whole. All right, now it says, will the answer to this be either equal to, greater than, or less than 3/5? So now it's changing it up a little bit. It's telling us now look at 3/5. So we'll look at 3/5. So what is going to determine whether the answer is going to be equal to, greater than, or less than is that other fraction. And say to yourself, okay, is 2/7 equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1? So is it equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1? Well, 2/7 is a proper fraction, so it is smaller than 1. So if I'm multiplying something that is smaller than 1 whole to 3/5, my answer should be smaller as well. Oh, sorry, it's not smaller than, it is less than we have to write. All right, this one says 5/8 times 6 will be blank to 5/8. Well, this is where you are looking again at the number. So they're wanting to know about 5/8. Now, in order to find out if it's going to be greater than, equal to, or less than 5/8, I have to look at the next number. My next number is a 6. So is 6 equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1? Well, if it is, 6 is greater than 1. So if I'm multiplying something that is greater than 1, my answer should definitely be greater than 5/8. So it is going to be greater than, because I multiplied by a number that is bigger than 1 whole. So again, if you want to see this, you can definitely multiply this out. So that would be 30/8. 8 can go into 30 3 times. When you subtract, that can't happen. So this would be 6/8. So 3 6/8 is the answer. And it's 3 6/8. Smaller than 5/8, greater than 5/8, or equal to 5/8. Well, it's definitely greater than. So if you need to solve it to figure out what it comes out to be, you can do that. I'm just telling you, you really don't need to do that. All you just have to do is just look at the other number, and that's going to determine it. So I want you to try these ones on your own. So please pause this and try it on your own. All right, so you should have paused it. And since you paused, I'm just going to go through this very quickly. So they want to know whether the answer to this will be either equal to, greater than, or less than this fraction. So what you should be looking at is the other number and seeing whether it is equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1. So this is the other fraction that's going to determine that. And then you got to go and see, okay, is 7/8 equal to 1 whole, greater than 1 whole, or less than 1 whole? Well, 7/8 is a fraction where the numerator is smaller than the denominator. So therefore it is smaller. So since it is smaller than 1 whole, your answer will be smaller than 3/5. Oh, sorry. I keep forgetting. You have to write down less than. All right, next, they want to do 7 times 9/10 will be blank to 9/10. So again, you're just going to highlight that number that they're talking about. Okay, so they want to know whether the answer is going to come out to be equal to 9/10, greater than 9/10, or less than 9/10. Well, how you determine it is you look at the other number. Okay, then you say, all right, we're multiplying by 7. So is 7 equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1? It is greater than 1, so therefore our answer will be greater as well, because I am multiplying by something that is bigger than 1 whole. Here, 5 times 1/3 will be blank to 1/3. So again, you're going to look at that fraction. Okay, so they want to know, will the answer to this be greater than, equal to, or less than 1/3? In order to know that, you have to look at the other number. That's going to be the determining factor. So is 5 equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1? It is definitely greater than. So if you multiply something that is greater than 1 whole, your answer will be greater as well. All right, here, 6/11 times 1 will be blank to 6/11. All right, so in this case, again, I'm going to highlight what it is. And what is going to determine it is looking at the other number that we are multiplying. This case is 1 equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1? It is equal to 1. So therefore, if I multiply 1 by 6/7, my answer should come out to be equal to 6/7. They are the same thing because I just multiplied by 1. All right, now here it says, Peter is planning on spending 2/3 as many hours watching television this week that he did last week. Is Peter going to spend more hours or fewer hours watching television this week? So in this case, we have to look at that fraction again. So the fraction is 2/3 as many hours this week. So then last week. So if he's going to watch 2/3 as many hours, so it doesn't even matter what that number was. If you are watching 2/3 of what you did last week, look at that fraction. Is 2/3 equal to 1, greater than 1, or less than 1? Well, you guys should be saying that that is a proper fraction. So therefore, if it's proper, it means it is going to be less because 2/3 is less than. Cheryl, can you? So the answer should be less than. 2/3 is less than 1 whole. So whatever amount of hours that you watched last week, if you're multiplying it by 2/3, it is going to be less than that many. So say you watched 10 hours last week, 2/3 of it, 2/3 of 10 is going to be less than, because you are multiplying by a fraction that is less than 1. All right, next it says Ms. Rodriguez has 18 packages of pens in her stock at her school on Monday. On Tuesday, she has 5/6 the number of pens that she had on Monday. But on Wednesday, she had 2/5 of the numbers of pens that she had on Tuesday. How many packages of pens does she have on Wednesday? All right, so in order to do this, we should be taking this one step at a time here. So it said Miss Rodriguez had 18 packages at her store on Monday. All right, so this was Monday. She had 18. On Tuesday, she has 5/6 the numbers of pens that she had on Monday. So we have to figure out what 5/6 of this is. So we can see if we can cross cancel anything. In this case, I can do a 6 can go into 18 3 times. So then this becomes a 1 now. So now I can just strictly go across. 5 times 3 is 15 over 1, which comes out to be 15 packages. So this is what what she has on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, she has 15 packages. Then on Wednesday, she has 2/5 of the number of pens that she had on Tuesday. All right, well then on Tuesday, she had 15 and we need to figure out what 2/5 of that is. So 2/5 of what she had on Tuesday, which is 15. So you can do 15 over 1. You can cross cancel anything. A 5 can go into 15 evenly 3 times. So then that cancels out to be a 1. Now we can go across. 3 times 2 is 6 over 1, which is 6 packages. So how many packages of pens does she have on Wednesday? She has 6 packages left then. All right, Ariel goes running for 5/6 of an hour. The next day she runs for 3/4 as much time. Does she spend more or less hours running on the second day? Draw a diagram or make a model to represent the problem. Well, I'm not even going to have you write that. You don't have to do that part. But do tell me whether she spent more or less time running on that second day. So here we go. What she did was she was doing 5/6 of an hour. And then the next day she did 3/4 of this. So she did 3/4 of this amount. So did she just spend more time running or less time running? Well, now you got to see what that is. See, 3/4 is what? Is it equal to, greater than, or less than 1 whole? Well, it is a proper fraction, which means it is less than 1 whole. So therefore, she would spend less time running. So less time, because 3/4 is less than 1 whole. Okay. All right, next. This one right here just says a scale model is a representation of a model with the same shape of the real object. Models can be larger or smaller than the actual object, but are often smaller. Like architects often make scale models of buildings and structures that they plan to build. Models can give them an idea of how the structure will look when it is finished. Each measurement of the building is scaled up or down by the same factor. So here's like a model of what building this architect is going to build. Obviously, he's not going to be able to make a full scale sized one because that would be huge. It would be way taller than him. So he makes a smaller scale so that he is able to show everybody what it's going to end up looking like. So Bob is building a scale model of his bike. So now they're talking about a bike. So this is totally different than what they just were talking about. So they're making a scale model of a bike. So he wants his model to be 1/5 as long as his bike. So if Bob's bike is 60 inches, how long will his model be? All right, so his bike, his real bike, is 60 inches long. But they said that he wants to do 1/5 of it to make a model. So he wants to make this be 1/5 of it. Well, in order to do that, you would have to do 1/5 of this. So in order to do that, you can just simply go across if you would like. That would be 60 over 5, which can you have that as an answer? No, you cannot. So now we're going to just divide it out. Can 5 go into 6? Yes. One time. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract. That would be 1. Check it. We are okay. So bring down your next number. Can 5 go into 10? Yes. Goes in twice. 5 times 2 is 10 with nothing remaining. Your answer is 12 inches. So therefore, this model that they're going to make is only going to be 12 inches long. Okay, so next one. They want you to write each expression, so this whole expression, into the correct box. So I do want you to try this on your own. It's wanting to know 5/6 times 2/3. Will the product of this be equal to 5/6, greater than 5/6, or less than 5/6? So they want you to do all of this. So try all of these and see where they would be. So in this case, I would look at like they're talking about 5/6. So that is the same here. So the only thing that's going to determine it is the other one. So since 2/3 is less than 1, the answer would be less than 5/6. So which one is saying less than? It is this one. So then therefore, in this case, I'm going to put 5/6 times 2/3 in this box. So you are going to do that for every single one. Just put that expression in each box, whatever you think goes there. All right, so please pause this and try this on your own. All right, so you should have paused it. This is what your answer is. So remember, these are all 5/6. So the thing that is going to determine it is the other one. Well, we already told you that one goes over here. Now, the other one here is 2. Well, that is greater than 1 whole. So therefore, my answer to that would be greater than 5/6. Here, the other thing is 4 over 4. Well, 4 over 4 is just another name of saying 1 whole. So therefore, it's going to come out to be equal to, because you multiplied by 1, something that is 1 whole. The next one that you're going to be looking at is the 7/3. 7/3 is improper. And remember, according to our notes, improper means the fraction is always going to be larger than 1. So since I'm going to be multiplying by something that is larger than 1 whole, my answer would be larger than 5/6. Here, I'm going to be looking at just the 10 over 10. 10 over 10 is just another way of saying 1 whole. So therefore that it's going to be equal to. Now this is the one that always gets a lot of kids. 5/6 is the one that determines it. Well, 5/6, a lot of kids want to say that it's equal. No, it is not, because you are multiplying by something that is 5/6. 5/6 is actually less than 1 whole. So therefore your product would be less than 5/6. So that is this, and now we're going to go over to your homework. All right, so same thing. Just look at your other given number to determine what's going to happen. Now remember, think of it as if it is equal to 1 whole, greater than 1 whole, or less than 1 whole. So here we go. I'm going to do number 3. It says 6 times 2/5 will be blank to 2/5. So remember, if you want to just highlight the 2/5, Those two are the same. The thing that is going to determine whether it is equal to, greater than, or less than is the other number. The other number is 6. Since 6 is 6 equal to, greater than, or less than 1 whole. Well, it is greater than. So therefore, my answer would be greater than as well. Greater than 2/5, because I just multiplied by something that is larger than 1 whole. Now, if you can't see it that way, then by all means, go ahead and multiply it out. This would be 12 over 5. So how many 5s can go into 12? That would be 2, which 2 remaining. So then the mixed number would be 2 wholes and 2/5. Now, this is your answer, 2 and 2/5. Is 2 and 2/5 greater than 2/5, less than 2/5, or equal to 2/5? Well, this is definitely greater because it has 2 wholes. So therefore, my answer should be greater. Here, again, it's asking 4/9 times 3/8 will be blank to 3/8. Okay, so 3/8 and 3/8 are the same. The thing that's going to determine it is the other fraction. So then you can look at 4/9. Is 4/9 equal to, greater than, or less than 1? Well, it is less than 1 because it is proper. So therefore, my answer will automatically be smaller than 1, smaller than 3/8 as well. So you will have 2, 4, and 6. I'm going to do 7 real quick with you. Starla is making hot cocoa. She plans to multiply the recipe by 4 to make enough hot cocoa for the whole class. If the recipe calls for 1/2 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract, will she need more than 1/2 teaspoon or less than 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract to make all of this hot cocoa? So it says that she wants to multiply it by 4. So if she has 1/2 of a teaspoon to make the original recipe, but it said that she wanted to multiply it by 4. So now it says, will she need more than 1/2 or less than 1/2? That is the question. Well, in this case, we got to look. It's saying 1/2, compare it to 1/2. All right, so here's our 1/2. What's going to determine whether it is bigger or less than 1/2 would be the other number. In this case, the number is 4, and 4 is larger than 1. So therefore, if I'm multiplying by something that is larger than 1 whole, what's going to happen? It is going to be larger than my 1/2. So therefore, it should be more than, because 4 is larger than 1 whole. You will have 8 for homework. You do not need to worry about 9. Flip to the back. On this page, you will do 1. I'm going to do number 2 with you. Suppose you multiply a whole number greater than 1 by a fraction that is 3/5. Will the product be greater than, less than, or equal to 3/5? So they're saying put in any whole number greater than 1. All right, so greater than 1, I'm going to put 10. 10 by 3/5. Will the product of this be greater than, less than, or equal to the 3/5? So here we should be comparing it to that 3/5. Well, in order to find out whether the answer is going to be greater than, less than, or equal to 3/5 is I have to look at that other number. In this case, the other number is 10. So is 10 greater than, less than, or equal to 1 whole? Well, it is definitely greater. So therefore, my answer should definitely be greater than 3/5 because I am multiplying it by something that is bigger than 1 whole. Because 10 is larger than 1 whole. Okay, and you will do the rest of this page. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that is it for 7-5. I will see you guys next time. Bye.